took all the best features of all the project management tools out there and combined them into one single platform. This means that the level of customization opens great possibilities. On the other hand, the learn curve is quite steep. Now, if you've tried to set up ClickUp on your own, you may have felt lost in the rabbit hole trying to learn it by yourself. You may have felt drowning in ClickUp, doing trial and error, only to come up with an inferior design that doesn't work. But let's face it, you know your business like the back of your hand, and you're the best person to set it up if only you can get past that learning curve and know where to click and what features are available for your needs. But what if I tell you that you can reduce the setup time? You can get past that learning curve faster. You can minimize the trial and error and significantly reduce the setup cost by at least 50%. Sir Isaac Newton once said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And this is what ClickUp has done for us. They have paved the way so that we don't have to start from scratch and reinvent the wheel every single time. And that is through the power of templates. Hi, my name is Eloisa. I'm a Filipino vetted ClickUp consultant, and today we're going to talk about the playbook for building game changing ClickUp templates. A little bit more about me: I'm also the founder of Virtual Champions PH. I was your all around VA prior to doing consulting. I would say that empathy is the secret sauce to our success. Having been on both sides of the spectrum, we design each ClickUp workspace that works for all of the team members and not only for the owner of the business. Whether you're already using ClickUp templates or not, this session will provide you with effective strategies on how to use and customize templates to really maximize your time and supercharge your productivity. A few things that we're going to talk about includes the problems that templates solve and why really invest your time in creating them. We're going to look at some of the basics on how to use the templates and some real life use cases. And lastly, we're going to custom build a template from scratch and look at some automation inspirations on how to level up those templates. Now, before we go to the nitty gritty of templates, I want you to step back and really understand why templates are an effective tool to maximize your productivity. Studies and research show that 22% of productivity loss are due to document issues. And this is because multiple people create different versions of the same document at different instances. This actually translates to 20,000 US dollars of amount wasted fixing those document issues. 50% of workers' time are spent in preparing documents. And this can be easily avoided if you already have a template ready that they can start off with. 45% of companies reported that it takes a week to prepare business contracts. Imagine the arduous task of preparing legal documents, where it could have been easier and faster if they have a template to start off with. And lastly, due to the recent trends, 88% of marketers have adopted AI to templatize reports. And this is because reports eat up a lot of our time. If we can reduce the time spent on reports, we can then focus on high level tasks such as strategy and business development. Now that we've established that templates are a great tool to maximize your productivity, we can then look at the benefits on your day to day work tasks. The first one is that templates reduce setup time and eventually saves you money. Based on our benchmark as a ClickUp consulting agency, a simple ClickUp workflow can take up to 30 minutes to 1 hour. But that is only if you are already a power user. If you are an absolute beginner, it may take up to 4 hours, not accounting for the amount of research and videos you have to watch before you can even begin your process design. But if you're applying a ClickUp template, it would only take just a few clicks. Templates also reduce errors. In your day to day operations, you want to minimize the risk of execution errors. For instance, if you're sending a client proposal and your team members are always starting from scratch, creating that every single time, you might end up sending a proposal with errors and grammar issues. Now, this will affect your client perception of your brand and your business, and chances are they may not even want to do business with you anymore. But this can be reduced if you already have a proposal template that your team members can use. Templates also promote consistency. By using templates, you can ensure that all your documents or your materials have the same look and feel, because brand consistency and recall provide you with a unique identity that clients can easily identify you for. Next is that templates reduce ambiguity and stress at work. A 2005 study shows that even the slightest sense of ambiguity can actually trigger and activate that part of our brain that processes threats and fears. Templates can equip your team to articulate what is exactly necessary to successfully complete a task or a report. In addition, templates promote uniform data structure for reporting. By using templates for your reports, you can already add placeholders dedicated for the data that you want to capture. Your team members don't have to second guess the level of detail that they need to provide. They can simply fill out those placeholders. And lastly, templates fast track the learning curve. By introducing ClickUp templates to your team members, they don't have to start from scratch and learn all the functionalities of ClickUp. They could just insert that template and build on top of that and just focus on the functionalities that are relevant to their jobs and their process. Now let's go to ClickUp templates and the Template Center. The Template Center is a library of ready to use templates, and ClickUp has just added over 1,000 of new templates available for you to use. Now let's start exploring the Template Center. To access that, there are multiple ways, but the easiest and fastest is to click your avatar here at the lower left corner of your screen. Click Template Center, and that should be right below the word Integrations. Once you click that, you will be directed to this window right here where you will see all your internal templates. If you click Community, that's where you'll find over 1,000 of templates that ClickUp has made available for you. Now, these templates are grouped according to types, levels, departments, tags, and also the creator of these templates. In ClickUp, you can pretty much template anything. You can have a space, a folder, a list, task, doc, view, checklist, and whiteboard templates. And there are even more templates outside of the Template Center, and that includes statuses, filters, and email templates. Next would be levels. So whether you're looking for a beginner template, an intermediate, or advanced template, there is one available for you. You can also group templates according to the use case or the functions of the business that it supports. Whether it's marketing or a project management related template, you can simply unselect here and choose the department that you're after. Next would be tags. Now, tags are a great way to group or categorize your internal templates. For instance, I created an HR tag, and if I click that, it will give me all my internal templates where I added that tag. I can also sort it by the creator. So if I only want to see templates created a particular user, I can use that filter as well. And that's how you navigate in Template Center. Now that we've covered the basics on how to use the Template Center, let's look at the real-life use cases of ClickUp templates. Majority of our clients are from the e-commerce space, and if you're running an e-commerce business, there are many interrelated departments and processes involved. Whether you're big or small, you have product development where you do your product testing, sourcing. If you're a private label company, you're doing branding, and of course, you have to track your product launch. In marketing, there's a lot going on there. You have paid ads to monitor your campaigns. You're doing social media. You're maybe engaging with influencers as well, and you're doing email marketing on the side. Operations day to day involve customer service, order fulfillment, managing your inventory, and also your supply chain. You also have finance, where you need to track your purchase orders, your sales orders, and everything in between. And of course, you need manpower to sustain the operations. So you're doing recruitment, onboarding, and training on the side. Now let's go back to this sample workspace that we've created for this session. In here, we've already created the business model for an e-commerce company. And we have done the research and applied all the templates that's relevant to an e-commerce business model. So let's just demonstrate how to apply a template from scratch. In here, if you want to add that to a particular space, make sure to select that and then click the plus sign right next to it. There's an option to apply or create a list or folder from a template. In here, I'm going to apply for a list template and choose a modern social media content planner. Once you click that preview, you also have the option to see the image or take a sneak peek of that template by enlarging that image. You also have a description here that can provide a bit of context about that template. You can even also get a preview of all the custom fields shown in there so that you can assess if this template is the right one for you. Once you're happy, you can click use template. You can customize the name and also the import items. In this case, I'm going to leave it as it is. Let's just wait for that template to get applied. And now it might need a bit of a refresh to do that. So let's just do that right now. Now the template that we've just applied is here and ready for us to customize. Of course, you're lucky if the template that you found exactly matches your process, but in most cases, you need to tweak it. In this case, for example, I want to edit the custom field because it doesn't match the correct terminology that we use within our team. For example, theme, I can right-click there and choose Edit Field. The theme, I want to change that to Content Pillar. And maybe the options, I can only change that to, instead of story time, I can add trivia. Make sure to hit save and your changes should reflect in the front end. Another thing is that maybe I don't need some of the custom fields here and they are not relevant to me. So what you can do is you can remove them from this list. To do that, right click here and choose remove from list. Another thing that you can do to customize this is to remove some of the views that are not important to you. So maybe this view is not important to me. So you can click that view, go to the three dots and choose delete. Of course, there are views that are required and you have no option to delete them because they are required. Another thing that you can modify is the set of statuses in this template. So just to make sure that it reflects your process. To access the statuses, click the list, look for the three dots where you will find all the options, the settings, and the menu. Click list settings and then go to list statuses. Now, this is the set of statuses available in this template. You have ideas, design, internal review, scheduled, and published. So maybe you have a dedicated copywriter and designer, so you can add another step for the copywriting. And that should be before design, so you can move that up that stack. Once you're happy with the changes that you made, you can click save, and that should reflect in the front end. There you go. And that is how you can customize an existing ClickUp template. Now, the biggest challenge is, what if you have a very unique process and highly specialized that only applies to your company? So chances are you will not find a template for that. Now, this is the point where you need to custom build that process from scratch. In today's session, I'm going to give you a sneak peek in the day in the life of a ClickUp process designer. Now, these are the steps that we follow on how to design a ClickUp template. The first thing is you need to prepare a process document or the standard operating procedure for that process. If you are the owner of the process, you can simply list the steps in document. But if somebody owns that process, make sure to have them prepare that SOP. Next is that from that SOP, you can create a template blueprint to outline a few things. The first one would be the hierarchy. So whether you're creating a list template, a folder, or a space template. The next one would be the custom fields so that you can capture all the necessary data that you need. You also have to figure out the set of statuses to use that makes most sense for that particular process, and also the views that will provide you the visibility on the data. And lastly, automations that can amplify, optimize, and simplify that ClickUp process. Here is an example of a hiring SOP. So you can use this format to create your own. From that SOP, you can actually create and use this template blueprint, which we personally use in our agency whenever we're creating a ClickUp process. All you have to do is fill that out and follow the guide questions. And once that's complete, you can start building the template based on that blueprint. Once you're done, make sure to test this workflow before you roll it out and create a guide on how to use that ClickUp template moving forward. Now here, let me show you how to custom build a template from scratch. In this case, we're going to use the hiring SOP as a sample. The hiring process, I'm going to put that under the HR space in this hiring folder. So first that I need to do is to choose the hierarchy. So in this case, I'm going to create a list for hiring pipeline for every role that we're sourcing for. This list, I will name it according to the process and create that list. Once the list is created, the first thing that I like to do is to add the custom fields. The very first custom fields that I apply is a drop down that reflects the stages of the process. To create the custom fields, just click the three dots, go to the list settings, and choose custom fields. The process stage would be a drop down, and I'm going to call that the hiring stage. Now our process starts with the initial screening, initial interview, we do a skills assessment, final interview, job offer, until we hire somebody for the position. Let's add random colors there to make it colorful and meaningful. Once the hiring stage is done, I like to visualize that process in the board view where I group instead of status to the custom field that I've just created. And this is a great way to visualize the process because it flows from one column to another. As a rule of thumb, make sure that you keep the number of drop down for the stages to a maximum of 6, or else you might have to pan to the left or right, and that's an inefficiency on a day-to-day basis. Once that's done, you can start adding the rest of the custom fields that you need. In the hiring process, you're going to need the email, the phone number, the resume, and a few others. As a rule of thumb, make sure to check the existing library first before you start creating a new one. For instance, there would be custom fields that are global or most or are commonly used, like email, for example. So there's already an email custom field in here, so you can definitely reuse that instead of creating a new one. Another thing would be the phone number. So let's check if that's already there, and looks like it is. So you can just click use this field. Another thing would be the address of candidates. So let's type that in there and look for the location field, and there you go. But of course, there will be custom fields that are specific to the process, so you can create them from scratch. One of the things would be a file field for their resume or CV so that they can upload that. We also like to request for a video introduction link so that we can immediately assess their communication skills. And you can add some rating once you do the screening for the work experience. Another one for their comm skills. And I think it's important to assess the character as well. And you can add as many custom fields as you like. For the purpose of this demo, we're going to keep it to that. Now, the next thing is to show these custom fields that you've just created in the list view. To do that, click the plus sign here, switch to the show and hide tab for the existing custom fields, and start clicking and selecting those custom fields. So phone number, address, CV, video introduction, and there you go. Now let's go back to the board view because you can further customize that and show some of the custom fields that are relevant to you. Let me add a dummy task first so that we can visualize it better. So to show some of the custom fields in this view without the need to open the task is to click show, go to custom fields, and start clicking away those custom fields. So let me fill that out so that you can see once they are populated. I can also add some more like the video introduction and the resume. And this view I can use once I'm screening the candidates. Next would be the set of statuses for this particular template. To do that, go to the three dots, list settings, and list statuses. In this case, I can even create a template for the statuses. I'm going to call it the hiring process. In here, to do in progress, that's okay, but I'm going to add one more, which is not a fit. I'll choose the gray one and put that as a done status. Make sure to hit save here, and then also the save at the bottom for that to reflect. So now we have to do in progress, not a fit, and complete. So this is important because I chose to put not a fit as a status instead of a stage here, and this is why. So for instance, this applicant right here, after the initial screening, I felt that it's not a fit, that I can put it to not a fit status. That means that I would know this person didn't pass in the screening stage. But if, let's say, they passed everything else and went straight to, let's say, the final interview, but after the final interview, let's say we hired somebody else, so it's not a fit, then I would know that this candidate was at the final straw of the application process. And if, let's say, another candidate is selected and another position opens, I can even go back to this candidate and offer that job because they already went through the hiring process. Aside from the list and the board view, I can even rename that to the hiring pipeline, and the list would be the list of candidates so that it makes more sense and you already know what they're for. Another thing that I would add here is a form for the application. So this is how the data, the inputs and outputs will flow in this process. You can use this form to capture the candidates, and they can submit an application without you having to manually enter the data yourself. The task name will actually be the full name of the candidates, and we can insert all the other custom fields that we want them to fill out. So that would be an email, their phone number, their address. You want them to upload their resume or CV, and the video and introduction. Of course, I'm going to leave out the rating system because that will be used internally. You can final check to make sure that all your fields are required. If they are optional, then you can tick them off. Make sure this is active, and you can go ahead and start receiving applications by copying this link and sharing that with your candidates. You can also add the link to your job ad, to your website, and wherever you're advertising the job position. So we're done changing the statuses, adding the custom fields, adding the views that we like. The last thing that we need to do is to look at automations that we can employ in this process. One of the things that I like to do, especially in the hiring process, is to make sure that the candidates are updated every step of the way. To do that, you can use email automations. So in the hiring SOP, we've already added all the email templates that you can add. For instance, the application confirmation whenever a candidate sends in their application. To add that, simply click the email automation in here and then choose when task is created. After that, you will be asked to choose the email account you want to use. And then in the trigger, I will only select the forms. Then the email should be the email field that we have as the custom field. Add the subject. So this is going to be application confirmation. In the body, you can even call out the task name, which corresponds to the name of the candidate. And then you can draft your email. This is to confirm that we have received your application. You can customize this email, but once you're done, you can even add your signature and hit create to save that. So that should be running. Another thing that you can add that will really save you time is that an email automation when you change the status to not a fit, so that you don't have to manually send that rejection email. Again, make sure that you're in the browse tab in there, and then click email and choose when status changes and select the correct account. In here, we only want this to get triggered when the status is set to not a fit. Again, select the two, which is the email that we have as the custom field. And then in the subject, add their application update. Now, I already have standard rejection email in here that I could just simply copy. I can call out the first name of the candidate again, or the full name of the candidate, and paste that standard rejection email. Now the role is, you can customize that. So I'm going to put ClickUp virtual assistant as an example. Okay, add your signature and make sure to hit create to do that. Other automations that you can look at is that, for instance, if you have different team members that is responsible for each of the stages here, then you can assign them once the applicant moves through the process. So for example, when the stages, which is a custom field dropdown, changes to initial interview, change that to, let's say, your recruitment specialist. Now, if let's say that I'm the one who does the final interview, then change when the hiring stage goes to final interview, then assign it to me. There are plenty of ways that you can add automations here to simplify your work because, as you know, ClickUp has many options. And if your team members forgets to pass the bait into the next person or tag the next person, then your process breaks. With automations, you can do the assignee automations and your team members don't have to remember clicking this or passing this to the next person because automations can save you time. And that is how you can build a game changing ClickUp templates. To close off, our company has been in the business of ensuring that our clients are empowered to perform in the visionary role. And a day to day, where you have to survive the daily grind and the whirlwinds of daily operations, you need to learn to work smart. And you can. You can work smarter with ClickUp templates. This has been Eloisa. Thank you so much for your time.